Have you ever read the Quran?
I haven't, no.
If we give you a free Quran, will you take it and read it?
I have better books to read in my... I'd be more interested...
How do you know it's a better book if you haven't read it?
I think I...
You can't compare a book to another book unless you've read it. So you can't say it's better.
No. About
Why are you worried about my prophet, by the way?
Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah, why are you worried about my prophet?
Well, is it not true that he married a 6-year-old?
Yeah, I know that's your favorite topic all the time, you guys.
Why is
But
it?
why are you guys worried about my prophet? Are you planning to become a Muslim?
I'm not.
All right, so what's the point then?
Well, how do you feel about that?
How do I feel about it? I feel in this time it was okay. Just like in England, it was okay at that time to marry very young girls. Have you seen some of the royal families going back in history? They married little children at 7 and 9 years old.
Okay?
No, I didn't say you are saying it's okay, but the question is, who decides at what age you should get married, based on your worldview?
When they reach adulthood.
Say again?
When they reach adulthood.
Yeah, but who defines adulthood? Because adulthood varies from generation to generation,
Right.
from country to country, and even from culture to culture. So who decides? For example, in this country, can teenagers have sex with each other? If you're under 18.
I don't think it's legal.
It is legal.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's legal then.
Yeah, so who decides that? That's what I'm saying. By the way, do you consider that to be moral? Having sex outside marriage?
Not really.
Really? Where do you get your morality from?
Well,
You said you're a Christian. I'm assuming you're an agnostic, atheist. What are you? What do you?
I don't disagree with everything, but I don't have a belief in it. Like,
Sorry, you don't disagree with what? Christianity.
Yeah, Christianity.
Okay. No, but do you actually believe in God or you don't?
I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. You know.
So you would be an agnostic because you're uncertain.
Yeah.
Would that be the right
Yeah.
label to use for you? Okay, because I want to know from which angle to approach you. It's not like I'm against you or anything. You're more than welcome to, express your opinions. No problem. But I think it's a bit of a below the belt every time you come and say that, oh, what about Muhammad? I mean, first and foremost, I'm pretty sure you have never read about Muhammad. You heard these points or this clickbaits or this rage baits, and then you come to the Muslims and say, what about this? But have you ever taken a biography of Prophet Muhammad and studied about his life? For example, for the first 50 years of his life, when you are in your prime, right? I'm sure the prime goes down by 50 or even before that for some men. During his prime, he had only one wife. Yes?
Yes.
And she was older than him. Right? And he was loyal to her throughout that time. Marriages in Arabia and also in other places like in Asia and Africa as well, there used to be many reasons why they got married. In fact, multiple wives was quite common at that time. It is only when Islam came, it narrowed it down and limited to only up to 4. And even that, only if you can do justice amongst them. Otherwise, Allah says in the Quran, marry only one. Okay? So it's very, I think it's, when you don't even study the background of someone and you start accusing them, I think that's not the correct way to do that. For example, if I didn't know your parents and I started saying bad things about your parents, you will get offended, won't you? Right? And that is not the right thing to do. Because what it does, instead of you learning about something, it is more like an attack.
But if say my mom married a 6-year-old,
Yeah.
I don't think it's the wrong thing to do to say that's a bad thing, no?
Say again? Yeah, in this day and age, I would definitely say it's wrong. Okay?
So,
But you see, as time changes, this bar of what is an adult also changes. Okay? For example, in Islam, we have certain conditions. So the condition is number 1, you should be both physically and mentally mature to get married. Right? So even if you're a 15-year-old and you're not mentally mature, or 18-year-old and not mentally mature, then you can't get married to that person.
What decides whether you are or not?
They don't want to take the responsibility of a marriage life. Okay?
So it's just
Or they're not physically capable as well. So it's physical fitness, mental maturity, also societal norm. Today is not a societal norm for 9-year-olds to get married. Do you know how old was Mary when she got pregnant, according to the Christians?
9.
Sorry? No, she wasn't 9. She was like 12.
Okay.
All right? You would consider that to be immoral for
Indeed.
pregnant for basically without her permission, that too. Yes, she was made pregnant. There you go. So if you start looking into any religion, you will find flaws because you're comparing standards of those times, like 1400 years or 2000 years from now, to the standards today. And that is called presentism. It is actually a fallacy. All right? So going back to the question, why do you not believe in God?
It's not that I disagree with him, and I think...
Wait, you need to believe that he exists first before you agree or disagree with him.
Wait, say that again, sorry?
You need to first acknowledge that he exists. Do you acknowledge God exists?
Well, it's a yes and no.
Say again?
It doesn't. I don't have to acknowledge that he exists.
Then why would you even entertain the question of agreeing with him or disagreeing with him? Because that comes as a second part too. You're putting the cart before the horse. Do you realize that?
What I'm saying is, yes, I agree.
Okay, good.
What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
I don't agree or disagree that he exists. I'm
Okay, that's why you're agnostic. No, look, your uncertainty was clear already, like a few minutes ago, and that's fine, no problem. But, okay, what is it that will prove to you with certainty that he exists? Have you got a criteria in mind?
Stop. No, but how could you prove to me that he is?
We'll get to that. But first I need to know, because the thing is, look, I can give you like 10 proofs, and you'll say, no, I disagree, I disagree, I disagree. That's the reason I'm asking if you actually have thought about it and saying, look, if this criteria is satisfied, then I'm certain God agrees. Sorry, God exists. Right. See what I mean? So have you ever given that a thought?
Yeah, a little.
Okay, so what criteria, let's say the key criteria that you have in mind that will convince you of the existence of God?
Well, science is very contradictory.
Say again?
Science is pretty contradictory.
No, it's not. We Muslims use science all the time.
Okay.
In fact, the scientific method was discovered by Muslims.
Right.
All right? So we only disagree with parts of the science that are contradictory to the teachings of Islam. All right? Public entertainment system. Yes. All right, so let's go back to science. Science and religion are not mutually exclusive.
Yes.
All right. So I don't know why. In fact, some of the early pioneers of science, like the hybrid plants and all that, Gregor Mendel, I don't know if you guys studied that at school, because we certainly did. People like Gregor Mendel, who's actually a priest in the church. Yes, I think a pastor or something. And he actually did experiments with plants. They got a lot of time, isn't it? So he did experiment with the plants, and he basically said the hybrid plants basically are much stronger, and they produce better fruit and so on. And he also did a lot of experiments. So some of the pioneers in botany, even in physics, take Newton for example, take Faraday. These guys were they believed in God, firmly. So just because they happen to be religious doesn't mean they discard science. Because what is science? How would you define science?
I don't know how I would define it.
What do you guys study in school nowadays?
Absolute garbage.
I can see that. Science is just basically the study of the naturalistic world, right? So it explains to you how things that already exist work. But you see, science has limitations. For example, it talks about the physical world, not the metaphysical world. Do you think there is both physical and metaphysical entities and things exist in this world?
Do I think?
Both physical and non-physical.
What would you say? What would you say non-physical is?
Take your emotions, for example.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Take your consciousness, for example. So if I were to ask you, have you got any empirical evidence for your consciousness?
I don't.
No, does anyone have it?
Right.
Objective empirical evidence for consciousness.
Well, is us being here not?
Say again?
Is us being here not?
No, but how would you prove it to me objectively? You can feel it. I can feel it myself. So in my worldview, I exist because I'm conscious.
Right.
All right, and I can see other people exist and experience that. But that's all subjective, isn't it?
Yes.
I need to prove. The whole idea of science is not just your feelings or your emotions. It's to prove without any objection that you have proof that I can show objectively to anyone that this, every time I test it, the result will be the same. I'll give you an example. Imagine you and your brother are in the same room, all right? And I ask each of you individually, what is the temperature like in the room? Okay, one of you says, I'm hot. The other says, I'm comfortable, right? Same room, you guys experience temperature differently, right? And that's perfectly normal. But if I were to ask you to prove to me objectively what is the temperature of the room, what would you do?
Get a thermometer.
Very good, yeah. And that gives you the exact reading. Doesn't matter how many times you take the reading, it'll show you exactly, regardless of your experience or your brother's experience. That is called objective evidence. See what I mean? So that's what I'm asking. If you want proof for God, what is the objective evidence you would require as criteria for the existence of God? Because the very people who ask for evidence, they cannot even show evidence of their own consciousness, let alone God. What is within them? What is within their reach? What is that they experience? You know, every question you ask me, every question a scientist will ask, every experiment a scientist does, everything is connected to their consciousness. Because if they were not conscious, they wouldn't be able to do any of those. Do you agree? That is the most fundamental thing within a living human being. Yes, your consciousness.
But how would you... what was the word again? Prove to me.
Yeah, objectively.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, this is so. You see, many times people who are agnostic and atheists ask for proof of God, but they are not sure exactly what they're looking for, and this is quite common. So what we do many times is that we use either logic, reasoning. So I'm not going to even touch the Quran now, just to prove to you that we have to believe in what the philosophers call the necessary being. Okay. Now, what is a necessary being? It is a being that is not dependent on anyone or anything, right? And without that being, none of this will exist. All right? No earth, no people, no planets, no galaxies, no universe, right? All these things, we consider it to be creation, all right? Creation of this necessary being. Everything that is created, whether you see it or you don't see it, it is dependent and not independent. I mean, look at anything around you. Yes, yourself, your parents, your society, even the stars, even the sun and the moon, the galaxies, all of it depends on something. The entire universe is dependent. Dependent on what? The very physical laws that we see. You know, that has been discovered by science.
Yeah.
Yes, for example, the law of thermodynamics or any other laws, take the gravity, take other things that science has discovered throughout history. So all of it is dependent. Now, if I were to ask you the question, where did the universe come from? What would you say?
I don't know.
Okay, that is not really an answer, but it's fine. You can say, I don't know if you don't know. That's the truth, at least, yeah? No problem. But you see, that doesn't answer the question.
Yes.
We know the universe exists. We know it had a beginning. Because, again, the scientists have shown us this. Yes, something like 13.8 billion years from the recent discoveries, all right? Because anything that begins to exist, all right? Again, this is from philosophy and science. Anything that begins to exist must have a cause,
Yes.
right? So what do you think caused the universe?
But that's what troubles my belief, whether it's a being or not, because I don't understand it. I can't fathom it how something can just appear out of nothing.
Yeah.
So I just I can't.
You can say, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
That's the easiest way out. So no problem. Look, but the thing is, even though you don't know, we know that it must have a cause. Do you agree?
Yes.
The fact that the universe is here and we don't believe this is like an illusion, like some people who are delusional think, you know. Many people actually, you will be surprised how many people think this, you know. Like, oh, I'm an illusion. I might be in a jar as a brain, you know. I mean, utter nonsense. So anyway, coming back to reality, we know the universe exists. We know that it began to exist at one time. Therefore, this is a reaction, okay? But the cause is something else. So whatever caused the universe is not within the universe, right? Because at one point, there was no universe at all, right? So what we say is that, by the way, I'm using deductive reasoning here, and this is again a form of scientific method, yeah? How to come to conclusion about certain things. Because the universe exists and it began to exist, we know that it must have a cause, right? So the effect is like the Big Bang. You heard of the Big Bang, right? So this is how the early universe, according to the scientists, was, and then it expanded and so on. Yeah. By the way, the expansion of the universe is also mentioned in the Quran, actually, 1400 years ago. Long before the telescopes came, long before the scientists discovered. There was a point in history, like not very long ago, they believed that the universe was static, right? No expansion, nothing. And then they started getting evidence, like the galaxies are moving away from each other, the stars moving away and so on. And then they realized it is not only expanding, but expanding at an exponential speed, right? Very fast. And this, that's how the scientists realized, because it's expanding, maybe at one point it was just like a dot. Yeah, just small and very tiny. Okay, so this is how they use, again, deductive reasoning through analysis and so on, that this is how we can trace back the origin of the universe. But they still don't know where that dot came from, right? And the singularity, whatever you want to call it, they don't know where that came from. So you see, we cannot say that the origin was from nothing, right? Do you know, is it even logically possible for nothing to bring about something that does exist? No, that's illogical, isn't it? And it's not possible. Similarly, the universe couldn't have created itself because it didn't exist at one point. How can something that didn't exist at one point give rise to itself, originate itself? Again, that would be illogical, right? So what is the only other plausibility left now?
Like a being, like what you said.
Yeah, the necessary being. You know why I call it the necessary being as well in this case? Because in order for the necessary being, number one is that the necessary being is not dependent. Whereas the universe and all the creation within, all of that is dependent, within and outside, wherever it is. Okay? And there are certain attributes this being has to have. All right? For example, it needs to have a will. In order to do something, it requires a will, isn't it? Because if you don't will it, nothing will happen. Number two, you need the attribute of creation to be able to create something. So an action to bring about something in existence. So these are some of the, obviously it has to be knowledgeable, it needs to have the abilities, the power, all of these things.
So I don't mean to interrupt, but
Say again? No problem.
Really
By the way, what do you think so far in terms of the deductive reasoning and the analysis we've been through? Because I haven't quoted the Quran for this origin of the universe and so on. I've just used pure logic and reasoning to come to the conclusion that there must be some being who brought this into existence.
I agree.
It must be outside the universe and so on.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I feel like throughout years that are coming in the future, as like, we've been testing theories, new things are being discovered by the day. So I agree that there might be something, but with
No, that's fine. That's fine. Take your time.
I can't put it into words. I'm trying to say something along the lines how throughout years we might find out that it's not.
You're saying science will one day give us some evidence of proof? Right. By the way, for science to look outside the universe is impossible.
Right.
Because science, like I said, is limited. How can they fathom something when there is no space and time, for example?
How do you know that's impossible?
Because, like I said, you need certain, like the limitations of science, you need certain basic fundamentals in order to even experiment, in order to even postulate things, right? So without space and time, what are they looking at? Like, I don't know. See what I mean? Because outside the universe is is impossible. Because you need certain basic fundamental, minimum things to be in place in order for science to come to
know this?
Because we know that science cannot go beyond space and time. They can't. How will they do? How will you look beyond the universe?
But maybe it can.
No, but that's what I'm saying. without these fundamental things, fundamental factors in place, they cannot even formulate things. They cannot even experiment things or make postulations. So that's why you need this, the axioms, let's say, the most fundamental things. And space and time are quite fundamental, I would say, for any experiment or any postulation, for them to postulate, for them to, give an opinion about. Right. So the only thing that makes sense is that there must be a being who brought all of this into existence, and this being is not dependent on anything or anyone, because if anything that's dependent, then surely it must have something that brought it into existence. See what I mean? So look here, it's a topic which takes time to explain, because I still haven't got into what do you believe about after that. I know it's a bit of a morbid topic, maybe some other time. I know you said you had to go. But do think about it. Do look into Islam as well. Have you ever read the Quran?
I haven't, no.
If we give you a free Quran, will you take it and read it?
I have better books to read in my... I'd be more interested...
How do you know it's a better book if you haven't read it?
I think I...
You can't compare a book to another book unless you've read it. So you can't say it's better.
No, but I know some of the ideas around it, and I think I'd rather use my time.
But you are using your time. The thing is, look, this life is limited, right? If after this life, after death, there was a new beginning, a new life, would you not want to prepare for that if that life is much larger and eternal compared to this? Why not? What
doesn't bother me.
So you would go to, for example, an analogy is like you would go to an examination without studying, without preparing for it, right? And you expect to fail or pass?
I don't expect either.
Why not? You could fail.
I could.
Yeah.
But I don't expect to fail. I might. It's
regardless of what you expect, because you haven't prepared for it, there's the probability of you failing is higher, isn't it? Like especially a topic which you're not even strong in, right? Yes. I don't know, how strong is your maths?
It's okay.
It's okay? All right. So physics?
It's about the same.
All right, there you go. So you see, if you're not strong in a particular subject, and that test is going to be like a tough test, not easy questions, then if you're not studying for it, then you wouldn't enter the examination hall with confidence, would you?
No, but that doesn't mean I fail.
No, but there's a high chance you'll fail. What would a person who is intelligent do? Would they prepare for the test or go unprepared?
Well, if they're already intelligent, they might have enough confidence to not prepare.
Then why they go to school at all if they're that intelligent?
Who says they do?
They do, yeah.
Not all.
Most people do.
Most.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean all.
I mean, tell me a scientist who hasn't gone to school. You believe in science, but then you don't want to study for it. You think this is like the Matrix. You can just download things in your head. No, bro, come back to reality.
That's not what I said.
All right, but you're implying that you don't need to go to school. That's crazy.
No, I'm not saying that.
How would you study anything?
I'm saying you don't have to.
Yeah, but you have to study. Even if you don't go to school, you have to study from someone.
Yeah.
All right? You can't just self-study and do things. Right? I'm not about the exceptions. Generally, in society, people study from some mentor, some teacher, go to school. This is the norm. Right? The reason I asked you, would you go to an exam unprepared, I was expecting you to say no, because that's what an intelligent person would do, that they would be prepared for the exam normally, right? Now you tell me, if after that there is one last question. If after that there is a new beginning, a new life, right? And because you haven't prepared for it in this world, are you willing to take the risk of jeopardizing the afterlife?
Yeah.
What would an intelligent person do? Maximize the risk or minimize?
Minimize.
But you all want to maximize.
Well,
based on your answer you just gave.
No, an intelligent person, it depends what they
An intelligent person would minimize the risk. In any scenario.
That's what you think, no?
In any scenario. Give me a scenario where you would want to maximize the risk. You can't think of any. Because that's not what an intelligent person does.
If you have a big ego and confidence.
No, but even if you had a big ego, unless you're not sane, then you would, jump headfirst in the sea if you can't swim. See what I mean? So you minimize the risk as an intelligent person, you don't maximize it. I know you're still young, you got a lot to think about, a lot to study, a lot to ponder on, but think about this question. Like after you die, if there is a new beginning and the angels are real and hell and heaven are real, the punishment is real and the reward is real and God does exist and there is going to be a day of judgment, right? Then you want to go there prepared, not unprepared. See what I mean?
Well, up to you don't know what hell's like, really, do you? So
I don't need to. I need to know just the description. That's enough for me to say that I want to avoid that place.
Okay.
See what I mean?
I have to go.
All right. What's your name?
Tomek.
Tomek?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Hashim. Nice meeting you. You take care.
Thank you. See you later.
No problem. Jazakallah khair. May Allah give the brother hidayah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.